everybody. My name is Renee Edwards, and my audience today is the lady behind the camera. Can you just give us a wave? Okay. Alright, so today I would like to talk about genetical engineering. And I will explain to you what it is and what some of the different branches are that follow underneath it. And then I will present you with a question. And I will question you to decide whether you believe that messing and rearranging the order and DNA of things in organisms is safe, and if it's acceptable, or it's the opposite and it's harmful and we shouldn't do it and whatever. But first question I'd like to ask is, what is genetical engineering? The technical definition is the deliberate modification of the characteristics of an organism by manipulating its genetic material. Now, the simplified version is that scientists take a gene or a cell or part of the DNA in one organism, and then they put it in another one to make it stronger, or to add something to it, or to take something away from the other one. An example of this would be the firefly and the tobacco plant. Firefly has a strong gene that helps the tobacco plant grow and reproduce stronger. So they put that cell and that gene into that tobacco plant, and it does. It helps it grow stronger and quickly. But some of the different branches that fall underneath this is, the first one is classical. And classical is the study of only the visible results. It's only the visible part of the experiment. And this is actually the oldest form of genetics. The second one is molecular, and this is the study of the intricate genomes. Most of these results are rapid. The DNA sequencing is very quick. Molecular biology falls underneath this, and that's the study of macro molecules and the third branch, quantitative, traits that continue. This is like from a flower to a seed. It has, maybe the same color, or from a cat to a kitten, they have the same eyes, and then from a human to a baby. Some of these things is like height, weight, blood pressure, all sorts of different things, hair color, eye color, and no single gene for any of these traits stays the same. They're all different. They all vary from each individual because that's how God made us, and it varies on each locus too. Okay, the fourth branch, ecological, and this is the viewpoint that interferes with an organism's genome, and that it was first okay, it was first acceptable, and changing things around is alright. But now, since things have processed and things have gotten worse, and the abuse of it, now it's bad. Now that they think that it's gone too far, and it's too far off of what was natural and original, that it should be cut off, that we shouldn't do it anymore. The fifth branch, developmental, is the process in which a single-celled embryo alters into a multi-cell organism. And this study is the studies in this field are led by the encoding and encrypting of the DNA, and to better comprehend how each of these organisms is developing. The sixth one is microbial, and microbiology falls underneath this, and that's the science that studies microorganisms and how they work and what they do and what their purpose is. Molecular cloning is also underneath this, and that was first done by Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen. Cloning is done when the constructed recombinant DNA gets put into the host, and then it becomes the host, and it forms something stronger or newer. The seventh one, last one, is behavioral, and that investigates the original behavior and differences, and that was originally formed by Francis Galton, and he was actually discredited with it later during World War II. Some GMO options that can be altered are animals, plants, and humans. An example of animals is the sudden death mosquito, and everyone knows that the fight against malaria is really big, and 300 million people are affected by it, if not are killed by it a year. So scientists have put a Plasmodium parasite in their mosquito species that they're trying to get to kill off them, that if they're carrying it, the disease, before they can reproduce it. So that way the babies die if they have it, or they are able to reproduce if they do. But the problem with this is, if they all die off, then what are the bats and other predators supposed to eat? And there you have a collapsing ecosystem. Another one is the mega salmon, and they have put a growth hormone in it that allows it to grow quick, way quicker than the normal salmon, so that they can get it to the markets faster. That can be good, but if the nutritional value isn't there, then it really shouldn't be worth the length of time. The food producing plants like rice, rice has been transferred in with the daffodil genes provided with vitamin A, and corn has been given bacterial insecticide inside of it, so it can actually fight the insects from the inside out. So it just, like when they get sprayed with herbicide or insecticide, it's actually just like a double effect. It fights them off even stronger. Humans, there is no actual research that has been, or not research, hypothesis or anything that has been correctly formulated, but we have learned that it can cause disease if you mess or rearrange a human's DNA and it fails. It can seriously injure them, but it also messes with God's creation, and that's something that we really don't want to play around with. We were made in God's image, and I believe that we should keep it that way. GMOs is the genetic altercation of plant cells. So this is now talking about the food, the plants on its own. This is often done to produce bigger, better, brighter crops, so it looks more pleasing to the eye, and maybe it lasts longer on the shelf. There's several positives and there's several cons to both of these. Some negative sides. It can develop food allergies, tons of health negatives. It can cause cancer, diabetes. Some say that it can cause autism in children even after they're born and they've been developed a little bit more. But it is important to take all of these sides, into consideration. You have to consider the positive, but also the negative. So here are some of the positive ones. It guards against insects better, and it tolerates herbicides stronger, and they yield more prosperous, and the shelf life is longer too. So those are all things to consider. And to conclude this, I asked the beginning question again, like, do you think GMOs are good or bad? It is so complex, the whole system of it. You can't really, I personally cannot say whether I support GMOs and genetically engineered all animals, plants, all that, but then again, I can't say that I don't. I can't do or don't, because there's positives to both. So just consider both. If you have any questions for me personally, or if you would like to see my works cited page and you want to study some more about it, feel free to email me, and I'll send you my my references, and I hope that you guys can come to a conclusion. Thank you so much.